Bitch!
Welcome to the Unimaginary Friendcast. This is live stream episode number 276. It's a conversation with your best friends, and we are those best friends.
I am Nathan Von Edmondson.
I'm Erin Marie, Betty Davis Jr.
And I'm DavidMonster.com. I'm not flat broke, I'm busted!
Yeah, sounds good. Tonight on this episode, we're going to be blowing the lid off of Peta. No, not the Mediterranean bread that we know and love.
Wait, the character from Mockingjay. What was this?
Peta. Oh yeah, I forgot that's his name.
Is his name Peta?
No, not him either. No,
that's when she humps. Yeah.
I'm talking about the animal rights group People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, and you're going to be shocked to learn the truth about what this organization really stands for.
Yeah.
But first.
Oh, Jesus. God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
All right. Any breaking news this week, team?
I got breaking news. You bitches got breaking news?
Yeah.
100%.
What do you got?
All right. Go. Well, okay. I'm going to go because this is important. You used to have a choice, but you didn't pick the right choice. So I'm going to do the choice because we're going to do a future podcast on it. It's hashtag boycott Kroger.
All right. Tell us about it.
I've been boycotting Kroger because they just hired Elaine Chao. Do you know who that is? Does anyone?
No.
Anyone know who that is? They hired her. She's a Republican who was fucking, what's his name? President Stumpy's Secretary of Transportation. And while she was in office, even the Republicans admit this, that she used her office to help her family. I mean, she committed corruption. Now, you guys might be like, oh, David, big deal, like whatever. So Kroger hired her as one of their CEOs or whatever, one of their things.
Is Kroger's a grocery store?
Kroger's grocery store, but you need to see they own a lot of shit. And some people are losing their shit. Like in your area, they own some chain of something that people are like, oh my God, I can't go there anymore. And I forget what it's called. But they own Ralph's and a whole bunch of other shit and Food for Less and stuff like that. But then there's not Smart and Final. There's a chain of eateries like convenience stores or something like that in your area. The Wawa. No, I don't know if it's the Wawa, but I've never heard of it before. But people are like, oh my God, I can't go to this anymore. This sucks. But I'm gonna convince you guys to boycott Kroger, and this is why. Guess who Elaine Chao is married to?
Donald Trump Jr.
Almost as worse as a Stumpy.
No, I don't know.
Come on, he's the worst person still in office right now.
I don't know, Madonna?
Oh, still in office?
Oh, not quite as bad as Madonna, just like right there. Come on, I've said on this podcast that he's one of the top 3 problems in the world right now.
Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. She's married to Mitch McConnell. So when you buy at Kroger's and any Kroger Holdings, your money is going to Mitch McConnell.
I have never in my life seen a Kroger.
Well, if they own a lot of stuff. Like if that's the corporation, and then
okay.
Isn't Mitch McConnell's wife a billionaire or millionaire? Like she was the one with the money originally, I think.
Really?
Yeah, she has money. Yeah, she has money. I wondered who would marry him. She's an Asian. Asians don't care. They just want to fuck shit up. What? And I know that sounds racist, but I'm part Asian, so suck it. I'm hashtag woke.
I know you are, David. You are.
So anyways, so are you guys going to shop at Kroger or give them any of your money?
Well, I don't even know what they own, so I think I need to do some more research to figure out where I can't shop.
Me too.
Yes, go on. Because don't you want to not give Mitch McConnell your money? Don't you want to not do that?
Yeah.
I hate shopping, so
Unless
it's going to be pretty easy.
I just give Jeff Bezos my money.
I'd rather give Beth Bezos. Wait, if you had to, who would you rather give money to? Jeff Bezos or Mitch McConnell? Jeff Bezos. All right, that's my news. And then next time we're going to go back to choice. You're going to have a choice. Choices.
All right. I'll go.
Okay.
Our little baby just turned 5 months old yesterday.
What does that mean?
We have a baby?
There's really no meaning to it aside from that she's aging. and she's 5 months.
She's like an old baby now. She's like old.
Well, she's not a newborn anymore.
Well, what happens at 5 months? Do they start crawling? Do they start sitting up? Do they start spitting up?
It's different for every baby. So it's like she's like kind of starting to sit up.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's no like blanket, like they do this at 5 months.
It is pretty amazing seeing like there will be one day where you're just like, oh, she's never done that before and she's doing it now. So that happens constantly, which is pretty amazing. Like today, she's been doing like she'll do like cobra pose where she'll push up with her arms and like do this. And then she started recently where she can get her knees underneath her hips so her butt pops up. So once she can combine those two things, she'll be able to crawl. But today I saw her, and maybe I don't know if it was the angle and I just saw the end of it or if I was misled, but it looked like that she was in a position where her feet were together and she was doing the press up with her, like the cobra, but she actually did a push up. It looked like she did a push up. Like her
wow.
Butt. So
that's good for the bust line.
Yeah. And then she jumped on these rings that we have hooked up and she started doing flips.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep. So she's still growing. That's my news. Breaking, I know.
Breaking news.
She keeps aging.
We're still not sleepy. Maybe that's more news. It's been 5 months and we still have not slept.
She's still not sleeping?
We got a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of it. Return it. Because at 5 months they should at least be sleeping more. She's sleeping more though, right? And
it depends. We had some good months and it's been some bad months.
Do we have good months?
We had better months.
Let me just say this. I have not slept longer than 3 hours at a time since she's been born.
Wow, I'm so sorry about that.
I have.
Yeah. Great. Nathan.
Should I go to my news?
Yeah. Yes.
So I was trying to remember the last time I was on stage performing doing improv. And I think it's been a few years, maybe. When I was in LA, I was on an iOS team before iOS shut down. So I was doing performances weekly with them on a Herald team. But I just did a show on this past Friday. It was the first time I've been on stage in definitely more than a year, probably more than 2 years, which is crazy. I did some online pandemic improv shows last summer, I believe, at some point, which were fine. But I actually did a show with Crossroads Comedy Theater, who does monthly weekends in Philly for the last few weeks or last few months. I jumped in with this team called Not Yet Rated, and they do movie formats. So it was Friday the 13th, so we did a slasher horror film format, which was really fun. And I just had a blast. It was just great being on stage and having an audience and being funny and making people laugh and collaborating with other artists and performers. And it was just, I realized how much I missed that. It's been a long time. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Everyone performing was vaccinated and the audience all were in masks and, socially distanced in the audience with seating and so forth. So there was a limited capacity. It was just so much fun. Yeah, I just really have missed it. So
that's awesome. Have you ever seen Mike Birbiglia's Don't Think Twice?
No, but I'm very aware of him.
Well, Mike Birbiglia did an improv. It's about an improv troupe that they're all trying to make it in comedy.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that. I didn't see it, though.
You should see it because one guy does. You should see it because it really, not only it's funny, but it also captures, if you're from LA or New York, and I'm sure that, well, Nathan knows this, there's people that it captures the hideousness of the people that take comedy seriously and make it a business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that, like the sheer, like horrible desperation, like it captures that. Like, it's really funny movie, but it's also heartbreaking and terrifying. You guys know what I mean, right?
Erin was saying yes more than I was thinking it, but do you have something to say?
Yeah.
Erin.
Well, you know, I mean, we've stood by. Like we wrote a short film called "Yes and I Do" based on Erin's facial expressions while watching Nathan warm up for a show. Well, Nathan doesn't strike me as one of those. He's not one of those people that when you are standing there in LA and people who are actors or improv people or comedians talk about the business of comedy, all you want to do is kill yourself. Right,
Yeah.
Erin?
Yeah, there's just such a competitive nature to every art form in LA, which kind of sucks the fun out of that art form. Like whatever you're doing in entertainment or in your creative field.
Yeah, it sucks the life out of it.
Yeah, your colleagues just want you to fail. You know, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
But in comedy, it's supposed to be so funny and fun. Like you're literally, your livelihood is making people laugh. And when you secretly want everyone around you dead, it's like kind of
totally
intense.
So I have a few things to say about this because it was very interesting doing a show with Philadelphia comedians. It's a different scene here. Improv in particular is supposed to be incredibly supportive and team oriented. And it is, you're taught that. I feel like Philadelphia, because it isn't LA and it isn't New York, really exhibits that. The people who are doing it here love it, and it becomes like this beautiful thing that they're participating in. And there is competitiveness. I mean, I remember years ago someone saying to me like, yeah, it's all about teamwork, but every motherfucker there wants to be the funniest motherfucker in the room. And I'm like, that's true too. You want to be the best no matter what you're doing, you know, but there is like this built-in collaborative nature to improv, right? However, even with comedy, there's like this, I heard someone say years ago that it's like, it is kind of like making someone laugh is kind of an aggressive act in a way. Like it's kind of, and I don't really remember all the rationale to that, but it is kind of like you're surprising someone and you're like demonstrating your intellect and like prowess. And it is kind of like an aggressive thing. And I think stand-ups, especially when you get into like roasting and that kind of thing, like it can be very competitive, you know? And especially when it's like, you're just doing stand-up and you're one person, like you're fighting against all these other comedians to be the best or whatever. But I can't say that the contrast of doing a year and a half, 2 years of improv in Los Angeles versus even just this one show back in Philly in my experience previously, the teammates I had in LA were lovely people, but it was very much the sense that I'm doing this for a reason. Like I'm doing this for something else. Like I'm doing improv for something else, or just like seemed to be a lot of people hating each other on the team. Like, you know, I hate that person or this person hates that person, or doesn't think they're good enough, or our director isn't good enough. So there was exactly what you're saying to a greater degree.
Yeah.
So
I know we're supposed to move on, but I want to say something, and I think we should write a movie about this because Nathan, you gave me an amazing idea that the left, they latch onto the idea that making someone laugh is a macro aggression, and you're taking their liberties away, and so now they're going to stop comedy. That'd be such an amazing movie because it is. You're forcing someone to laugh. You're taking their choice away from them.
I love that. Hashtag boycott comedy.
Yeah.
Boycott comedy.
Well, you know, it is funny though that I don't know about funny, but I think it's interesting. The Philly scene coming back is so different. The pandemic definitely like fucked things up, but the comedy scene countrywide was hit first by the Me Too movement before it hit corporate or entertainment on a larger scale. It hit the comedy scenes quicker, and that really destroyed a lot of theaters countrywide, in New York, in LA, even in Philly. Like there was just like a lot of Me Too shit that went down. So that's kind of an ugly underbelly of the comedy scene as well.
I just don't think you should have people mixing ever because there's always going to be shenanigans.
You mean males and females?
Or do you mean
any two people that could possibly have any sort of sex in any way?
So anyone.
It's just a bad idea to have them mix. Because, I mean, look at it's not, you just have to look and see. Like, it's just been bad from the beginning of time. Sorry, that's all.
Huh. I'm gonna think about that
Okay.
one and then move on to
Moving on.
our gold star.
Oh God. This is so hard.
This week's gold star goes to scientist Byeong-Chun Lee, who led a team to genetically create glowing dogs. And David's going to elaborate a little bit more on that.
All right, listen, this is so cool. It's not only done with CRISPR, but I don't know if you guys remember, we broke the story wide open on CRISPR on this podcast. Mm-hmm. CRISPR is a technique where scientists can genetically modify the genes of anything and change any part of any living thing. So what they're doing is the reason why and people are like, oh, big deal, David, they make dogs glow. Well, the reason they're doing it is because they're testing it out, and it's a harmless way of seeing if they can make changes in it. And if they can do that, they can make other changes where they can change us genetically, where we can be more resistant to disease and things like that.
What do you mean they're making them glow?
Yeah, you need to explain that.
Okay, what they do. I know, and it sounds bizarre, but it's not that big of a deal. Everything glows. Humans actually glow, but you can't see it. What it is a lot of different species around the world glow. They're making them give off a certain protein that makes them glow. And right now they only glow under black light, but they can glow like certain jellyfish glow and certain, other things glow. They can do that eventually.
To what purpose?
Well, the purpose of that was just to see if they could do it, and it was a harmless thing. So if they could make it happen, it wouldn't have that many negative effects on these dogs. And they're all healthy dogs, and they're happy dogs, and they're loved dogs. But now they're going to try more. What? Yeah. Yeah,
they're going to try more things. If they can do this, they're going to try more things. But the question is it only on new bird, like newly born animals? Like we can't make ourselves, like you can't make me glow, right?
Well, eventually they're saying they can. Right now they don't have the means to do it. Right now it's only they're changing these were cloned dogs too, which is another huge, like they're cloning everything now. They're cloned dogs. So what they do is they change the genetices of the embryo and then clone like that. They can't clone something that's already living yet. I mean, they can't genetically alter anything that's living yet, but they're getting up to that. And I am first in line when they do.
What do you want changed?
Do you want to glow?
I think that, what? Oh, I definitely want to glow. Who doesn't? What kind of a psychopath doesn't want to glow?
What about making a dog blow? We have a question from the audience.
He needs to be more specific. Because dogs can't go like that.
They can't whistle.
I mean,
and they can't whistle, which I think would be adorable.
They can howl. Isn't howling kind of...
Is he talking about a sexual act?
That's hideous, Christopher Davis. I'm sure that he's saying that he wants them to be able to blow up balloons and things like that. I'm sure that's what he's saying.
That'd be adorable.
That's a good point.
It'd be adorable.
Them as workers, though,
it would put clowns out of work.
Dude.
At birthday parties.
Yeah, it's really...
Dude.
Boycott dogs glowing.
Blowing.
We should revisit this topic because there's a lot going on in it, and there's shows that are streaming right now that are becoming huge hits because of it. And we'll talk about the ethicalness of it because we have an ethical question today about dogs.
Yeah, speaking of, should we just jump into our main topic?
Yes.
Okay. So our ethical question is PETA, P-E-T-A, a shelter or a slaughterhouse? And let me give you some information first, and then we can decide for ourselves. So Christopher Davis is elaborating that they want to like balloons shaped like dogs. So these dogs would be blowing up balloons shaped like themselves. I think it's a great idea.
I think it's an amazing idea. I would want it.
Okay, so PETA, and I wanted to start this off by giving credit where credit's due. There is a comedian named Steve Hofstetter who sourced a ton of information about against PETA, and put out a video that did very, very well. And I'm stealing a lot of his carefully sourced statistics and numbers. So I didn't do all this research myself, but I'm going to present it to you because it was very well thought out. So moving forward, PETA runs an animal shelter in Norfolk, Virginia. So they're not a national shelter. And just to give you some context, so Virginia's private shelters, they euthanize 4.3% of their dogs in 2019. We're just going to use 2019 as the example year here. And PETA's rate for dogs was 57%, and their cats were 72%. So that's going up against a private shelter, which was on average 4.3%. And they only adopted out 1.8% of the dogs they took in. So all of these statistics are public. They come from the Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. So this is like stuff that you can look up. This isn't a fluff piece. So basically the average adoption rate in other private shelters is 75%. So if you put that up against a PETA shelter, a dog or a cat is 30 times more likely to be killed than adopted out.
Wait, what was the percentage for PETA adopted out?
Adopted out 1.8%.
Compared to
1.8%?
1.8% compared to 75%.
That's insane.
Yeah. No,
All right.
and maybe it's worth repeating these again because the private shelters in Virginia euthanize 4.3% of dogs. PETA shelter is 57% of dogs. That's in 1 year. And
Wow.
that was actually a good year. So 2019 was like their most humane year. There's been some years that they've killed over 97% of their animals. And between 2006 and 2011, it was over 90% of the animals they euthanized every single year.
All right.
Just getting started here.
Well, can I make a
really
comment
nice
to this? Like, I don't know, I don't want to step on any of your points, but because there was a quote that Ingrid Newkirk, who is the runner of PETA, she's the leader of PETA.
There.
She said, "We do not advocate right to life for animals. We are not in the home finding business." It's like, why don't you get in the home finding business? Why are you in the animal killing business, dumbass? She acts like God told her to do this, so she can't do anything else. She's a fucking idiot.
We'll get into Ingrid Newkirk because she's got something wrong.
Are you going to talk about why does PETA have a shelter? Do you talk about that at some point?
So they can kill animals. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I think we'll deduce why they have a shelter.
Oh, okay. We'll figure that out. And it's only in Virginia or?
So their like big shelter is in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
So they've been around, I guess, since like 1998, and they've taken in almost 50,000 animals. They've killed over 41,000 of them. And these are their self-reported numbers. So if you're like, oh, somebody's inflating these, no, these are the numbers that they put out. So that's
she's proud of it, though. She's proud of it.
Over 20 years, 1998 till now, that's an average of an 83.5% kill rate on all the animals that come into their shelter. And
wait, I just want to say it's not only dogs and cats either.
Yeah, I mean that's
probably true.
That's I think mainly what it is, but
obviously.
But I mean, yes.
And the random tiger or alligator, right? Birds,
bunnies,
definitely bunnies.
Gerbils. Can we just keep naming animals? Okay, continue, Erin.
No, so their main argument against this, you're like, how can they still be around if this is what they're doing? Well, they have this argument that they keep saying that they take in these lost causes, all these animals that have these really sad stories that wouldn't be taken by other shelters. But it's actually bullshit because, first of all, PETA has a shit ton of money. They actually raised over $50 million, I think, in 2019. And 20 million of that money was supposed to go to rescue. And they only adopted out 29 animals that year. So if you do the math there, I'm not a mathematician, but that's like about $700,000 of that 20 million per adoption. So like something funny is going on. The money's
100%,
not going to rescues. And they actually transfer more animals to other shelters, like other shelters that have way less money. And somehow those other shelters that have no money or very little money, like manage to not kill other animals. if we have a comment from Mary, most of the funding for PETA is to generously compensate their executives. I think that is very accurate.
Yeah.
So one other story before we get into Ingrid Newkirk.
Wait, when was PETA founded? Was it
when was
1998? I think is what you said.
The data I have is back to 1998.
Okay. Okay, continue. I just remember the first time I ever heard about them. It was in such a positive light, like incredible.
1980.
Oh, okay, so they've been around for
40
years.
Yeah, thank you.
So I don't know what the data was like from the 18 years previous from what I have, but so there's one story that made national news. It was in 2014 that there was a couple PETA members that tried to coax a family dog, little Maya the Chihuahua, off her family porch. So this was in Parksley, Virginia. Apparently the dog wouldn't come. So they actually went up and took the dog. And there's a Virginia law that requires animals to be kept in shelters for 5 days before they're put down. But PETA actually killed the dog within a few hours of bringing it to the shelter. So, and it was like a matter of he said, she said, like the owner was accusing them and they said they didn't do it, except the owner had it all on video. Literally had it on video. So do you know what PETA did?
What?
They sent them a fruit basket as an apology.
Did they sue? I hope they sued their asses.
No. It's just like, there's really no way to get past that story with.
Why were they at the person's house in the first place? Is it?
I don't know what the backstory was of why that happened the way it did, but it totally happened.
That's so.
I have a theory. Knowing Ingrid Newkirk, I have a theory of why it happened.
Yes. And there's been a whole bunch of groups throughout the years that have been trying to advocate for PETA to be reclassified as a slaughterhouse. And apparently they're like right now they're a 501c3. So if they were reclassified as a slaughterhouse, they'd lose their tax exempt status, which means they would owe a lot more money in taxes. So they have to do like a certain amount of adoptions every year. And I think that's the only reason they do any adoptions, because their founder, Ingrid Newkirk, actually is against the idea of pets. And I'm going to read some quotes directly from her lips. Ready? Pet ownership is an absolutely abysmal situation brought about by human manipulation. 1. She says, in the end, I think it would be lovely if we stopped this whole notion of pets altogether. Eventually, companion animals would be phased out, and we would return to a more symbiotic relationship, enjoyment at a distance. If people want toys, they should buy inanimate objects. If they want companionship, they should seek it with their own kind. She also said, euthanasia is the kindest gift to a dog or cat.
100%. Can I just comment on that? Because she's not very bright, and I don't know why nobody has pointed this out. First of all, cats routinely will pick humans to live with. And there are even stories from ancient... Yeah, 100%. The cat that the West Coast manager, the manager of the West Coast studio, picked him, came to him and said, I want to live with you. And people have stories of that all over the world. Mm-hmm. And not only in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt, people have stories of that. Cats would come up and choose this as their home. Mm-hmm. And not only that, they think that dogs, the reason why dogs are domesticated is wolves are like, oh, you have a fire and you have food. I'm going to sit next to you. Yeah. So she's a fucking asshole. She's, sorry, Nathan, one more thing. And she's obviously never seen, like, there's a lot of animals that are in love with their humans and love living with them. So anyways, go ahead, Nathan. Sorry.
I'm just saying that's most of the time.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when I was in middle school or high school, our cat Chelsea followed my older brother home. He was walking home late one night and she just followed him home and came up the porch with him. And then that cat lived with us for 15 years. But she chose him. And it was funny that she chose him because he had a very rebellious attitude at that point in his life. And so did the cat. She was such a bitch. So that's true. And also, like, I think people forget to I'm glad you pointed out about how dogs evolved, because I believe that you're accurate in that assessment. But also, cats, the world's different. Like, sure, like let's just let the cats live outside or let the dogs live outside. You're just going to be hit by cars. So like it's such a tremendous amount of, I think we learned that feral cats have a lifespan of, I think, 5 years or less versus domesticated animals, which is 3 times that.
Also,
well, plus they're eaten by other animals. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and like being like, oh, find companionship with your own kind. Like a lot of people can't or don't want to.
That's true too.
And they are like perfectly happy to have their animal companions. I know personally people like this.
And have you ever seen a Disney movie where the princess just communes with other like animals, right?
Totally. And one more valid point. I don't know if you've ever seen cats in the wild. A lot of times they don't like other cats. They hate other cats and they love humans.
Yeah.
So there's this woman is a crazy person.
Oh, so Mary Shelby is recounting a story that there was a cat in like the dead of winter in the Poconos, which is a very rural area. I don't know where it came from, but it started following us home every day after school. It would meet it. Mary's my mom. Just like out there for anybody that doesn't know. He would wait for us at the bus stop, follow us home, sit at the door, follow us down to the bus stop, and he just chose our house. And eventually we let him in, and it became like just such a wonderful member of our house of 18 years of beautiful memories.
Wow, 18 years? 18 years.
So he found the good kids and followed them home.
Yeah, basically.
Found the kids he liked.
Yeah. But you're talking about cats choosing where they live. He absolutely chose to come live with us. And we didn't let him in for a while, and he just kept coming, kept knocking.
Yeah, we've all had that. I had a cat too. I had a mean cat, Wayne, who was like, he would just show up on our porch and he'd be like, okay, feed me. And then eventually he's like, you know what? I want to come in. And then I remember he just came in, went to the couch and laid down and took a nap. And he's like, that's what cats do. Give me a break, Ingrid Newkirk, bitch.
So Christopher Davis says, Sniffy won't let me not let him out. So they've decided that they're going to have an indoor-outdoor cat, which was the best thing I think they could have done for their cat, because their cat.
I think it's a good thing to do, depending on the animal. And
where you live.
And how far they're going to wander.
Yeah.
I remember with Chelsea, we let her in and out because she was an outdoor cat when we got her. So we just let her out. But she was female, so she's smaller than the males, right? And she also just wasn't very big. And she got injured. Like she definitely was attacked one time. So we decided to keep her in after that. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But one other thing I wanted to share about how nutty Peta is they came out with Peta Kids, and it was a series of comic books, basically kids books. And I have a picture here. Nathan will be able to see it. You can easily look it up. It's super graphic. Like you're like going through, it's all like,
oh my God,
hand drawn, like animated, looks really like kid fun, colorful. And it's basically like a mom in an apron, like stabbing a rabbit, and there's like blood flying everywhere. And I think their point is that, like, if you're wearing fur, it was like animals died for that fur coat, but it's just really, really disturbing.
The image is like a horror show, basically.
But they came out with a whole series of these to like educate kids, but probably just traumatize them. And it's funny that they're so against like those animals being killed for the fur coats when they're just going to kill.
So is she a vegan?
That, like, anytime I see a protest from PETA, it's about don't eat meat.
Okay,
I don't know.
She must be vegetarian.
My guess would be I don't know for sure.
I know. Sorry, go ahead.
It would have to align. She would have to be, right?
Well, she's such a nut job, but that's true. You make a good point. It's like, if you are so upset that people are killing animals for their fur, why don't you do everything in your power to not kill the animals that you have, bitch?
I guess
something wrong with her.
Dog and cat coats.
They need to test her. She's somewhere on a dangerous line. Like, she really is. And someone needs to check the crawl space under her house, too.
I know. There was one other campaign that I think was unsuccessful because it's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. but they tried to get people to stop using like certain animal language. So I'm gonna give you a few examples.
PETA woke.
Yeah, exactly. So instead of saying kill two birds with one stone, they wanted everyone to start saying feed two birds with one scone. And then instead of be the guinea pig, they wanted you to say be the test tube.
Okay.
Instead of saying beat a dead horse, they want you to say feed a fed horse. Instead of saying bring home the bacon, they wanted you to say bring home the bagels. And instead of saying take the bull by the horns, they want you to say take the flower by the thorns.
Okay.
She also, they wanted certain bands like the Pet Shop Boys to change their names to like the Free Range Pets or something like, I don't know, or the wild animals, or I don't know, something stupid. Yeah, like that's dumb. I don't know how that's gonna help anyone.
I don't think Peta's trying to help anyone.
I mean,
to be honest.
I think it's cute. Those are actually kind of cute and clever. I appreciate them, but they just have to catch on. You can't force that. You can't say something like that.
You also have to practice preach too. You know, if you're trying to preach like the ethical treatment of animals, it's not like murdering people's pets.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah, and it would be cute if Betty White was trying to get everybody to catch on, but not a murderer like Ingrid Newkirk. Then it's like a horror show. I'm telling you, somebody better check under her house. I'm not even kidding. I am not kidding. Would you be surprised if weird shit was found under her house? No.
Like she on her own has been like for the last 40 years grabbing animals and like just taking like like apologize, like I'm so sorry that this is happening to you, and like slicing their heads off.
God.
Yes. She's crazy. She's a crazy person.
I don't know what's so wrong with having pets. I mean, it like makes their lives better. It often makes their owners' lives better.
Well, I'm sure that she saw some there are bad examples, but
definitely there are bad people that should not have pets. I'm not arguing.
I've witnessed
that.
bad pet ownership for sure. And I would love to hear like a fully articulated reasoning as to why it should be abolished, like all the points. Like, if someone could articulate all the points, I'd love to hear all of those, because
maybe she'll hear it. Peta, if you're listening, please reach out to us and you can be a guest on an episode, and we'll try to come up with a different opinion, because my opinion is very low of Peta, of you right now. I'm assuming that they're listening, because why wouldn't they, right?
How have they not been able to change their status to slaughterhouse? Because I would join that protest. I would go immediately. Let's protest.
They are adopting out a certain amount of animals that they classified as a shelter.
You know what? Not even cats. There were 2 times I had pet squirrels because I found the babies, like they fell out of the tree and their moms wouldn't come get them. And for 2 days, I tried to give this squirrel back to the mom. And then I raised these squirrels and they loved me and I loved them. So it's not like this woman's an insane person, because what am I supposed to do? Euthanize that animal? That would have been better. No, those animals had a great life because they were loved.
Well, David, like you said, nature is horrible, right? Horrible. It's like
how long did you have that?
Not for very long. They don't live a long time.
Really?
Like 3 or 4 years or whatever. And then one my grandmother killed. So that was horrible. And I wish I would have euthanized her. Like my one regret in life that I didn't punch her in the face as hard as I could. She choked it to death. And I didn't know because my mom lied, and because I went away on a trip and my mom was taking care of it, and she choked it. She forced a grape down its throat. Because she was my grandmother was a fucking crazy person. Yeah.
I'm sorry about
my mom didn't tell me after she was dead, because I would have taken a bat and just beaten the shit out of her or something. Like,
oh my gosh.
My grandmother was the Filipino Ingrid Newkirk, 100%.
Oh God.
It sounds like she wasn't intending to choke it. She was trying.
No. I'm sure she was, because we also had dogs and they got out of our yard after they were killed. then she told my mom, "Oh, the pound called about your dogs. They're dead now, though." That's my grandmother. And my mom, like, she didn't tell me that either until my grandmother was dead either, because I would have beaten the shit out of her too.
Oh,
No,
God.
my grandmother, I'm telling you, my grandmother's crazy. My family is crazy. You guys keep thinking,
hold
like,
on, hold on.
David, your family's fine. My family is insane. Go
Dave,
ahead, yeah.
Is that
What?
is that a cultural difference though? Because like,
No. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
well, I just like certain cultures have different views on animals. So in India, you can't eat cows because they're sacred, right? But here we raise them and slaughter them in mass, right? In other countries, like dogs and cats are cuisine.
I have a comment here that says, I don't support killing squirrels, but they are really stupid.
No, they're not. You're stupid. My squirrels weren't. They were really smart and really sweet. I don't know what to tell you. They were really super sweet and nice.
Did you bottle feed them?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, it was a baby. I had to bottle feed it.
That's cute, at least.
It's so nice, so sweet, and they loved affection and stuff.
So
And
Ingrid is saying you should suppress your maternal instinct and your loving persona
or whatever. Yeah.
Snap their necks.
Oh, and even on both squirrels, I even called local animal rescues, and they're like, we don't take squirrels. Like, the only thing that would happen is if you turned them in, like they'd be in a shelter and we would know it. So we'd probably end up euthanizing them. So it's best if you take care of them. Yeah. So she probably would have liked me turning it in and it being euthanized. But to answer your question about cultural differences, yes, my grandmother did brag about eating cats and dogs. Really? In America, in Philippines, and in America. When she came to America, she ate a neighbor's cat. She straight up did. She's told us she did. But she's also, I don't know how to explain to you guys that my family is fucking out of their fucking minds.
Well,
on that note,
move forward in the episode.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that we all agree that PETA sucks and they're more like a slaughterhouse and a shelter. Does anybody argue? I mean, I feel like I thought there was going to be some debate, but
you were kind of saying that. So they're a nonprofit. They do this just to have their 501c3 status.
That's the theory.
Right? That's the theory, and because they do like the bare minimum of adoptions to maintain that status.
And they make a lot of money.
Well, because they're like, it's like the first ads I ever remember seeing about them in magazines. If you don't know what a magazine is, it's this like printed thing that you used to get back in the day. Now
wasn't born yet. No, no idea.
But they were always highly regarded as like the champion of the animals. So
yeah.
Well, they have a lot of stupid celebrities that support them, like Pamela Anderson and Brigitte Bardot and stuff like that, who I'm sure that don't even check into it, don't even know.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a talk with Pamela Anderson and be like, did you know this and this and this? Because when you look at you don't even have to research what anyone's saying about PETA. If you just research the shit that Ingrid Newkirk says, she a fucked up bitch. Like there's something wrong with her too. And I'm sure that I am related to her in some way. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. And I don't think that everything PETA does is bad. I think they have a pretty big catch and release program. Like when they spay and neuter, like feral cats and dogs, like that's helpful and good. And I think that there's people that work for them that are probably there for the right reasons and are good people. But yeah, I think it starts at the top with Ingrid Newkirk, and I think she's crazy, and I think that they could be doing so much more.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to read that quote again to you just because it's so infuriating. Her saying, oh, damn it, where is it? We do not advocate right to life for animals. We are not in the home finding business. Our service is to provide a peaceful and painless death to animals who no one wants. That's her duty, is to provide a painless death. So it's like, so start providing homes. And if you see her pictures, she is a little bit crazy looking. Like she does not look well.
Like the ultimate Karen.
Oh, the ultimate Karen. Yeah. What can we do, Erin? I want to join some kind of protest against her. I want to get this woman stopped because she's awful.
I'm sure it'd be a very fast Google search to say to find all the groups that are going up against PETA.
But they don't seem to be making headway because you don't hear a lot about
They don't
them.
have David Monster.
It's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. They don't. I'm just here. Wait, I just have to do a search to see if she's Christian.
We can follow up on this in the next episode. Speaking of, we do have another episode next week. Wink, wink. It's going to be all about eating disorders. But the surprise is we're actually going to do it right after this episode.
So don't go nowhere, stupid. Sorry, go ahead.
Wrap up now, and we're going to give everybody a 2-minute break, do the countdown. We'll be right back here for another episode. So stick around.
Do you want to talk us out, David?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you
Yeah.
for watching, everyone. It was great to have you. Thank you for your comments, and we'll be back with another live stream.
Yeah, you better go pee right now because you only have 3 minutes to get back here. I'm a big-titted bitch. Wait, I'm a big-titted bitch.